snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books.
Larshaw, of course, believed his country could be better, and in the tradition of Jules Verne, had his hero finally return home. I lived on Mars for another 6 months. It wasn't until I had encountered a ship in France on an exploration mission that I was able to return to my great, illustrious, and free China.
Especially in the Split Wells novels, where they're quite complex, there are lots of different factions and politics going on, and characters learning information which is going to critically affect things that happen to other people and themselves later on. I cannot possibly sit down and map that in my head. I have to be like a computer. So I may have an idea of the way a plot's going to go, but in writing, suddenly someone finds something out. It's like, actually, that is actually impossible and ridiculous, and why did I think that they would turn up and do that? And if you're in a conversation between two characters, and the natural flow is leading you away, you just have to accept that there was something wrong. Why think that your initial conception of something is the right conception?
Looked at Asimov and Clarke and Bradbury and all those kind of things, but they didn't feel the need to copy them. They've all kind of gone off in their own different ways. And Hannibal Juniemi, I'm totally mispronounced his name, it doesn't really bear any kind of resemblance to the sort of authors that I'm no doubt inspired his writing in the first place.
Nice building work, and they could just take that on, but no, they've got to smash it up. And who's going to rebuild that if they did win? That's going to be a lot of man hours.
It's just going to be all those aliens, like, really annoyed on building sites, like hammering stuff in. Like, thought this through.
Do you have the original design spec?
and then when they address it in Captain America, the Civil War, they address, we need to take responsibility for what we're doing. And then they have an argument about it, smash up the city!
I'm starting to see your point.
Because my wife is a librarian, I think I'm in another panel, and librarians have to deal with this question a lot, more pervasively than most of us. And the way that what differentiates a young adult book from simply a book with a 16-year-old protagonist is that young adult books deal with first experiences. So you can have a young adult assassin if you want, but they'll be dealing with something to do with first experience. It might be first love, might be first time leaving family, might be first time whatever. But
okay, so the bookmaking habits of select species. There is no definitive census of all the intelligent species in the universe. Not only are there perennial arguments about what qualifies as intelligence, but each moment and everywhere, civilizations rise and fall, much as the stars are born and die. Time devours all. Yet every species has its unique way of passing on its wisdom through the ages, its way of making thoughts visible, tangible, frozen for a moment like a bulwark against the irresistible tide of time. Everyone makes books. It is said by some that writing is just visible speech, but we know such views are parochial. A musical people, the Elatians write by scratching their thin, hard proboscis across an impressionable surface, such as a metal tablet covered by a thin layer of wax or hardened clay. Wealthy Elatians sometimes wear a nib made of precious metals on the tips of the nose. The writer speaks his thoughts as he writes, causing the proboscis to vibrate up and down as it etches a groove in the surface. To read a book inscribed in this manner, an Elatian places his nose into the groove and drags it through. The delicate proboscis vibrates in sympathy with the waveform of the groove, and the hollow chamber in the Elatian skull magnifies the sound. And in this manner, the voice of the writer is recreated. The Elatians believe that they have a writing system superior to all others. Unlike books written in alphabets, syllabaries, or logograms, an Elatian book captures not only words, but also the writer's tone, voice, inflection, emphasis, intonation, and rhythm. It is simultaneously a score and a recording. A speech sounds like a speech, a lament, and a story recreates perfectly the teller's breathless excitement. For the Elations, reading is literally hearing the voice of the past. But there is a cost to the beauty of the Elation book. Because the act of reading requires physical contact with a soft, malleable surface, each time a text is read, it is also damaged, and some aspects of the original irretrievably lost. Copies made of more durable materials inevitably fail to capture all the subtleties of the writer's voice, and are thus shunned. In order to preserve their literary heritage, the Elations have to lock away their most precious manuscripts in forbidding libraries where few are granted access. Ironically, the most important and beautiful works of Elation writers are rarely read, but are known only through interpretations made by scribes who attempt to reconstruct the original in new books after hearing the source read at special ceremonies. For the most influential works, hundreds, thousands of interpretations exist in circulation, and they in turn are interpreted and proliferate through new copies. The Elation scholars spend much of their time debating the relative authority of competing versions and inferring, based on the multiplicity of imperfect copies, the imagined voice of their antecedent, an ideal book, uncorrupted by readers. The Quetzali do not believe that thinking and writing are different things at all. They are a race of mechanical beings. It is not known if they began as mechanical creations of another older species, if they are shells hosting the souls of a once organic race, or if they evolved on their own from inert matter. A Quetzali's body is made out of copper and shaped like an hourglass. Their planet, tracing out a complicated orbit between three stars, is subjected to immense tidal forces that churn and melt its metal core, radiating heat to the surface in the form of steaming geysers and lakes of lava. A Quetzali ingests water into its bottom chamber a few times a day, where it slowly boils and turns into steam, as the Quetzali periodically dips itself into the bubbling lava lakes. Computers are really good at analyzing plot and saying, okay, so you have a big twist happening in chapter 5, but it will be really effective if you go back to chapter 2 and just make a foreshadowing mention of it. Those are the kind of things that computers can really do, and they can really make you write better. I think it would be very cool. We just sort of feel like that's not right, but we don't really complain about the fact that digital photographers really rely on their computers to do a lot of their creativity. We trust the fact that by applying their taste and judgment, they're being creative. So we can probably trust writers to do the same.
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.